Am I making you bored?
No,
Just
no. It's just like midnight.
I know, I just got you.
Midnight.
I just got you. Okay, so I don't think I'm in the shot at all anymore. So
Why?
because you've moved it so much, and it's fine. You are so bad at that. I always think it's hilarious because we do these always in the bed now because we started it. Just a little check-in with the little man. For those of you who wonder, tonight, so this is night 3 or night 4?
4.
Night 4. He went in bed, not asleep, just drowsy, and he went right to sleep. No crying tonight.
Yeah.
Like, literally maybe 2 seconds of crying.
Yeah.
But he's just laying in his little bed.
Welcome to
Q&A
Friday.
Q&A Friday, Saturday edition.
Yes.
Because we're filling out Friday.
But it's on Saturday.
But it's a bonus video, so.
Kind of like a bonus video.
Q&A Friday, Saturday edition.
Yeah. So we have several awesome questions. The first question, though, is from me. Is how are you doing on No Treats Till Turkey?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great. I haven't had any treats.
Good. Me too.
Why were you acting like you thought I had treats?
Oh, no. No, I was just asking.
No, I haven't had any treats.
So we haven't had any treats. The question is for you. How are you doing? Have you had any treats?
No treats. No treats.
Now, I will go ahead and skip ahead because it's related to this. But Sidge did ask, are we thinking about doing anything between Thanksgiving and Christmas?
And it's funny. I've been trying to come up with, like, a hashtag because the No Treats Till Turkey
that works so well.
REESE, get on it. I know you came up with the last one, and that one was so genius.
So yeah, maybe like the Monday after Thanksgiving.
I was thinking
till Christmas.
No sweets till Santa. I also thought about doing a different kind of challenge, like maybe we up like a water challenge. I know that sounds kind of lame, and it's kind of like, but like drink it up December or something like that because. If we do a no sweets till Santa, you're going to have to at least get a get out of jail card
I think you get one a week. Because everybody has, parties and stuff. And if you say none...
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe you get one treat a week during the no sweets till Santa. No sweets till Santa kind of works. But
it does kind of work. But then,
just sweet. So, but then you can go you can go pizza and just
But I will say, in December, sweets are more of an issue than...
Yeah.
Because there are Christmas cookies everywhere, blah, blah, blah. But I also don't want you to feel like you're missing out in the season. Although, let me tell you, every year at this time, I get the most motivated. Like, I'm the most motivated to eat right and to really amp up the exercise than I ever have. And I think a lot of that for me is kind of a reactionary, like a knee-jerk reaction, because for so many years, like I would get to January and like just feel terrible about myself. And I just never, I don't want to feel that way. I want to get to January and, feel good.
Yeah, so let's work on it. Let's crowdsource this and see if we can get a name. And then I kind of like the idea of doing something for, like, say, the Monday after November till like Christmas Eve maybe. Yeah. And I think like having either like you have 3 things you can do or one a week or something like that.
Or if you can think of another kind of challenge. But I just kind of think eating challenges are good.
Joe, hi Joe.
Hi Joe.
She says, do we take supplements?
No. I used to, Joe, I'll be honest with you. I used to for a long time. When we were on the ranch, we always took a multivitamin, a probiotic, a vitamin D, and a vitamin C. I believe those were the ones that we always took. And when I got home, and they were all from Trader Joe's. So I even on the ranch, like they were Trader Joe's brand. So I always, like if I ever go back to that, if I just, I think a multivitamin stuff is great and whatever. I will say I feel like of all of the ones that I wish I continued to take would be the probiotic, because I just think that really helps digestion and everything else. But I just feel like our diets are pretty well rounded now. Yeah. But no supplements.
So. Favorite Quest bar?
Blueberry.
Mine too.
Definitely.
Ben, how is the Daniel diet helping you? I like it just because it really helps me get my appetite under control. And there's a spiritual, it's a fast, and so you are to be hungry, and practicing being hungry is always a good thing for me. So
I mean, it's a fast, but you're eating. You don't because
right.
But they assume or assimilate fasting with not eating. But you're eating complete normal meals throughout the day.
Yeah.
You're not going days without eating.
No, you're just fasting dairy and meat and sweets and those kinds of things. So
things from the King's Table.
From the King's Table, yes, a whole other video. Whole other video. Joe, thank you for that question.
Thank you, Joe.
So this is Conster326, and she says, any great low-carb ideas for grab-and-go meals, especially breakfast?
Grab-and-go meals. This is a really good idea. I actually saw this on that Tasty channel, on Facebook. Y'all know the one that's always, when you scroll through your feed and they're making all kinds of like horrible, terrible, delicious-looking things. It's like mesmerizing. I could watch those videos one after the other. Anyways. And I haven't done this in years, but I was thinking about starting it back up, especially lately. They just took like eggs, and you could use whole eggs or egg whites if you'd like to, and then they just sauteed onions. I think they did onions, bell pepper, mushroom. They threw in a little cherry tomato at the very end and spinach. They let it that mixture come to room temperature. They mixed it with the egg. They put it in a muffin tin, and just put a little bit of cheddar cheese on the top. You could always omit that if you wanted to, or use a different cheese like, Parmesan or whatever. And then they baked it in the oven until they were cooked through. And then they were just eating them right then. But I thought, what a great idea. You could pop those in the freezer or in your refrigerator for a week and eat 1 or 2 on the go every day. And that's completely low carb. And based on what you put in it is going to base your fat content on that. So, it's endless what you could do for something like that. Mm-hmm. But instead of like stopping and making an omelet and all that, you could just take 2 of those. I would probably eat those cold myself because I wouldn't mind that. But you could always just pop them in the microwave right before you leave. Yeah. I thought that was kind of a good local idea.
That's good. All right. Good question. Next one is for me. This is Chris W. She says, how are things going with my CD album? Well, they're pretty much where they were when I left Nashville. So one day we're going to finish. It's just the time, guys. It's just the time. But we're going to get there. I really would like to finish by the end of the year. I just don't know if that's going to happen. So if it doesn't, then I'll try to finish at the beginning of the year. I've got so many other music things I want to do, but I have to finish this first.
Yes.
So you guys help me. Keep asking me about it.
Yeah, keep asking.
Because, it's one of those things that I don't have to do it. So it's like...
Right. So it gets pushed to the back.
Yeah, it gets pushed to the back.
This is also like... Since you came back, this is like y'all know the fall is like the busiest time of year. Fall,
it's busy
because you go from like, everybody going back to school. It's like church winds, all the activities wind up again. My birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Yeah.
My birthday is like a national holiday.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was good. So thank you, Chris, for that. For that
nudge.
Yeah. Denise.
Hi, Denise.
She just celebrated her anniversary of her engagement.
Aww,
and
congrats.
So she says, yeah, we're sort of sappy that way.
That's
she says
sweet.
She was wondering if we'd share our engagement story in Q&A Friday.
I love that.
So we were just mere babes.
I was a child bride, obviously.
So we wanted to get engaged, and here's the thing: Olivia's dad married us.
Yes.
And so I kind of had to wait for his approval.
Of course.
Well, of course, absolutely. So when I finally,
but to be fair, we were young.
We were so young.
They were our parents were all very wise. They all were like, we know y'all are the right people for each other, but let's just hold on for a hot second.
So, we did a bunch of stuff, a lot of counseling and stuff like that, even before we got engaged.
They gave you the permission, then what happened?
So then we're going to do it on New Year's Eve. She didn't know this.
No.
She just knew it would be around. She knew that permission had been granted.
Yeah, but I had no idea. Did I know?
I think, yeah, you knew.
I did.
But then you just didn't know around about the time. You didn't know the actual conversation had happened. You know what I'm saying? But it was just like...
I mean, I don't think I knew that you had permission. Anyways, it doesn't matter.
It's been so long ago
It was forever ago.
Anyway, we so what I did was I was like, oh, let's go on New Year's Eve. Let's go to this big, like the hotel. They have these buffets and dancing and stuff like that. So she was like, oh, sure, which was kind of funny because we didn't really do stuff like that regularly. So, but anyway, I had the ring and I wanted to ask her right about midnight, right when the new year came in. And so I had the ring, but I carried that in my coat pocket all night, and I was so nervous. Like, when I went to the bathroom, I said, I'm going to take my coat with me. She was like, what the heck are you talking about?
I was like, you can just leave your coat here. And he was like, no,
I'll take it.
I'm going to take it.
So anyway, we went outside, and right before midnight, I got down on my knee, and I asked her to marry, and I said, I want this year to be our year. And here's the thing. I didn't even plan this, but it was perfect. As soon as she said yes, fireworks went off. Oh, excuse me, Harper's asleep in the next room. But fireworks went off, and it was just awesome.
It was great. It was like perfect. Yeah. And it was like perfect and sweet and simple, but yet so memorable, and it was great. It was like, and we were by ourselves, and it was hilarious because right then we were like, great, should we go back to my house? Like, we immediately like left, and of course everybody was waiting at my house. Yeah. Everybody was waiting up and everything because I was like, let's get out of here, let's just go celebrate. So and it was fun. It was such a celebration. It was a good night.
So that's it. That's good.
And then we got married 8 months later.
In August. Yeah. Awesome. Next question is from Melissa Crawford, who is Todd's wife.
Oh, that's right. Hi, Melissa.
So she says, can you do a video or talk about the cost of eating healthy? I'm not asking, necessarily how much we spend on food, but how much it would cost versus things that were cheap and easy, that kind of thing. Do we make a menu out for the week? What's on the menu, or to just grab as you're going through the store?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
Okay, so I think, here's what I think about that, because I think a lot of people ask this question, and it's a great question. I think it's a real big myth that to eat healthy is more expensive. And I'm going to put a little asterisk by that, because I think it can be if you're not smart about it. So, and what I mean by that is there are things that are very inexpensive that are very healthy. That eggs, all your frozen veggies, which are packed and frozen at the peak of freshness. I say it all the time. You can get, all kinds of organic fruits and vegetables in your freezer section, which is way cheaper than getting them fresh. And you can still, use them in all your recipes and whatever. For me, a lot of times, instead of buying a big, huge thing of chicken breasts, or I'll go and buy rotisserie chicken instead. Every grocery store sells rotisserie chickens now. Rotisserie chickens can be as cheap as $5.99 for a whole chicken. Like, you can debone the whole thing and use it for the whole week, or just use it for dinner for that night. So I feel like there are things that you can really take advantage of. I'm not a big seafood fan. Frozen seafood is another thing. Frozen shellfish, scallops, shrimp, all those are so good for you with your veggies. Like, you could do a whole dinner just out of the freezer and it still feel very fresh. Add some fresh lemon juice, lemon rind, salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil, garlic, and toss the shrimp with a little bit of steamed broccoli, and you have lemon broccoli shrimp. You know what I mean? There's so many things you can do like that are fairly inexpensive versus buying fresh broccoli and fresh shrimp, which is amazing if you can do that. But there are ways, I feel like that you can really make it work for you. Also, all the stores, including Whole Foods, and I really try to do this as much as I can, even though sometimes in Whole Foods I just got to run in and get what I need, and I know I'm going to pay more when I do that. But Whole Foods, if you shop their flyer, any grocery store, if you shop their flyer, you're going to get a much better deal than if you are just going in willy-nilly and just buying whatever. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Oh yeah, you have to, the sales.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Whole Foods and all.
Oh, 100%.
It's the sales if you're willing to do that. That's
and then be willing also, and again, you're paying also a little more in your time, and I understand that time is money 100%. You've seen us, a lot of times we go sometimes to multiple stores, not sometimes, all the time, because for me, I want to buy the bulk of my food at Trader Joe's because it's inexpensive. But I want to get most of my produce, like my fruit and things like that, at Whole Foods because it's just better quality. Because Trader Joe's produce, outside of their avocados and cherry tomatoes, is the pits. Like Trader Joe's, horrible produce. Yeah. Sorry. Like the bagged salads and stuff, that stuff is amazing. But the stuff in the actual produce section is always terrible.
Surprisingly, Target has really good produce.
Totally. You could shop really healthy at Target, actually. Their Market Pantry brand, they have all kinds of organic stuff within that brand as well, which is really, really good and really cheap.
I do think it is, in general, even if you did all that, it's still more expensive than, say, if you have a family of 4 and you're going to get Hamburger Helper for the night. So that I will say that because some people are thinking that because some people eat that way, and that's fine. There's no judgment there. It's just, it is more expensive than that.
Yeah.
And I think on the flip side of what you're saying, even though you can do it, and if you're really smart about it, the thing is that it is an investment. And I would rather spend my money on that and do my best and not go out to eat at all and feel like I'm actually doing the right thing. And sometimes you got to make a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess in my mind, I was thinking, because a lot of people who don't eat healthy, they think that eating things like fast food and Domino's, pizza like that, they feel like that is cheaper. And I'm basing that on that. You can feed a family of 4, especially up here in the north, for cheaper than going to Burger King and everybody getting value meals.
Yeah.
Like that.
The thing about is eating at home, no matter even if you're eating expensive ingredients, is cheaper than going out, even fast food.
Right. You cannot put a value on your health. I mean, believe me, I know because I've been on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, and who was it? Plato or Aristotle? That food be thy medicine, in the sense of if you view food as something that can even heal your body, that then you go out looking for that, and you're like, you know what, this is a real priority. Yeah. I can spend my money on this, or this, but the food's really, really important. It's not just the cheapest thing I can find.
Right.
Does that
totally
make sense?
And I don't anymore write a menu, but we have kind of like a roundhouse of things that we always have in the house and things that we cook. So I always just have those things readily available for me at all times. So proteins, veggies, and then I know at any point I can just put stuff together. Breakfast, we're always kind of on our own. Lunch, we usually pack lunch with us, or I'll get a salad out, or he'll get something. But dinners, we usually always we always have lots of vegetables and protein to eat for dinners. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question. I think that was a long version of what you were asking. Awesome. I hope that answers.
Thanks, Melissa. Taylor says...
Hi, Taylor.
She says, with No Treats Till Turkey going on right now, what are some of your favorite Thanksgiving dishes that you're looking forward to? We all know about the famous pumpkin pie and how it is a favorite. I think that's the one you talked about. Yeah. But for her, it was her mom's sweet potato casserole and corn casserole.
Oh, my mom doesn't make corn casserole per se, but she makes this thing called corn pudding, which is in a casserole dish, which is real good. Which, by the way, I haven't had that in years. That sounds really good. I always look forward to green bean casserole. And only because, and maybe I'll show y'all this year how my family, we do it a little different. We don't just do the ones with just the Campbell's soup and the French fried onions. Oh, no. It's got like the Campbell's soup and sour cream and like seasonings, and then we do a layer of Velveeta cheese, and then let me tell you, it is the best. It will change the way you do green bean casserole forever. I'm just saying.
That's good.
So green bean casserole probably, and I do love sweet potato casserole too. I do it with the praline topping and not I like the marshmallow topping, but nobody else likes them.
I love the marshmallow topping.
Oh, well, maybe
I like anything marshmallow. Nora and them are the ones that don't like.
Well, maybe this year I'll do the marshmallow topping.
Maybe we'll do marshmallows.
Because my family doesn't like marshmallows. I love the marshmallow on the top. I think that's delicious.
I'm dessert. I love pumpkin pie, pecan pie. Any kind of pie. I love anything pumpkin. Anything. I'm sorry, I'm being so loud.
He's gonna wake up the baby.
So yeah, those are the things.
And I'm just excited because Harper, last year we gave him a itty bitty bit. Do you remember last year my sister Nora made homemade Parker House rolls. If you guys know what that'd be, like Big Yeast rolls. She made them from scratch, and they were. And then she made homemade strawberry butter. And so Harper didn't. I mean, he was what, 4 months old. He didn't eat any rolls, but he did eat some a little bit of strawberry butter, and he was just. I remember.
Now, do we normally do the monkey bread or whatever for breakfast?
That's at Christmas.
Oh, at Christmas. Well, I'm looking forward to that.
We call it pull apart roll. I don't call it monkey bread. I think that's just weird to call it that. I don't know where that came from.
I don't either.
Anyways, yeah. So that's what I'm looking for.
Those are some of the good things. So thanks, Taylor. So Emily Boyle. Hi, Emily. She says, Olivia, how's your dad doing, and will you guys be traveling for Thanksgiving or Christmas?
First of all, Emily, thank you so much for asking about my dad. He is doing well now that I feel like kind of everything has settled down. I know they would not mind me telling you guys he just got home. So he was in the hospital for 6 weeks total. I've never officially kind of said, everything that happened. My dad had triple bypass open heart surgery. Long story short, I FaceTime with my parents every day. I think a lot of you guys know that. My mom was in Nashville. My sister Hannah just had a baby Milo, who was precious. My dad was at home. He had been up there, but he had to go home. He had some meetings. And so I was talking to him on the phone, and he was telling me that he felt like he had indigestion. Like he just felt like some pressure. And I just noticed, and like looking back on it, I think his lips didn't look right to me. This is going to sound so weird, but like it was almost like they looked like ashy and kind of like gray almost. And I said, Dad, you just don't look good to me. And he was like, well, I called Aunt Kathy and she's going to come over. My Aunt Kathy, who lives near his sister, who lives in Mobile near my parents. She's a nurse. And so she was like, she's going to come over with her blood pressure cuff, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, long story short, he collapsed, didn't have like a heart attack or anything, but actually his leg just went completely numb. And then my aunt got over there and they called 911. They came and got him in the ambulance, took him to the hospital. And basically found out that he had a lot of blockages. He never had a heart attack, which is a miracle, but literally 24 hours later had triple bypass, which went well. Great. Then a couple days later, he was out of ICU on the regular floor, doing really, really well. And, had some complications with his blood sugar, got too low. He basically had some kind of either a seizure or something from that. And because he was fresh out of having a bypass, his heart stopped. And it took them a while to revive him. And that was when we got in the car and started driving down there. And then a handful of hours later, it happened again. And so when you're talking about just someone's heart stopping and they don't really know why that's happening, even though that it's just from some type of trauma, but everything is functioning the way it's supposed to, it was just really, it was really, really scary. Anyways, miraculously, God is amazing. And they were able to put in a pacemaker a couple days later, even though he has had no irregularities in his heart since then, which is miraculous.
It's a defibrillator as well, so it shocks the heart
if his heart ever stops, then it will immediately start sending shocks to his heart, which is great. So they don't have to worry about that, even though the doctor feels like that a lot of it was blood sugar related, which they have also rectified since then. But it was just a lot. I mean, they had to shock. They'd use the paddles like many times to try to revive him, especially the second time. So the Lord it is so miraculous, his story, and he checked himself into inpatient rehab once he was discharged from the hospital. So he was there for almost 2 weeks, 10 days, so 10 to 12 days. He did amazing. He did all of his 3 to 4 hours a day of physical therapy plus extra. He always asked for extra homework, and they always gave him extra homework. And then about 5 days ago, I think it's been now 5 or 6 days ago, he came home. And so now he's at home. So he is doing wonderful. He, when you look at him, you would have no idea he just went through all that. Like, He was dealing, and then of course after all those surgeries, all the swelling and lots of water retention. But he is doing so well. Keep praying for him. He's working so hard to rehab his body, still doing physical therapy and all that. And I mean, he's able to pretty much do everything. He's not to the point where he can run a marathon yet, but he's doing so good. So thank you so much for asking, and keep praying. And especially going into Thanksgiving, I'm so thankful that he's doing better. So
it's good.
So thankful.
And we're staying here for Thanksgiving.
Yes. We're not really sure what we're going to do for Christmas yet.
We were going, but now that we made the big trip in
Right.
October, we just don't know if we can swing it, and it's just been crazy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just, y'all know how it is. And well, you probably know and don't know, but one of the things, and I say it all the time, it's interesting now because my brother-in-law, Hannah, my sister, her husband, he's also in the fitness industry. And that's the thing about the fitness industry. Like, I make a very, very good living. Like, I make, a great salary, and I make, more money doing this than I would at a desk job for me. But if I don't teach my classes, I don't get paid. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. It's fantastic because I get to take care of my son, and I don't have to sit at a desk at 9 to 5, and I get to exercise, but I got to teach my classes. So, so when we leave, we take a huge dent financially, and so, and we're really trying to pay some debts down and things like that. And, we didn't get behind per se, but we don't have a lot extra going into Christmas because we took
that was pretty much the money that we were going to use.
We would, right, exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to see, but it would be, we love to go down because we want Harper to experience his family and all as much as possible. But at the same time, we also want to be able to get the things that he needs.
Right. And we also, we want to, and y'all know, you've seen, it really throws the schedule off big time.
It's a big
it's
thing.
Just it is. And it was kind of like a perfect storm. It was daylight savings time right when we got back, and driving, we drove, and that was just really hard. That took, a lot of recovery from that.
Yes.
So we'll see.
Yep.
So thank you, Emily, for asking.
Yeah. Finally, we did have a request on Twitter from REESE.
Hi, REESE.
Hi, REESE. No Trees Till Turkey originator.
I know.
Hashtag.
So good.
Awesome. So she had just asked us, especially last week, we had all the videos about the election, and we did that basically Q&A Friday where we just talked about our views on the election. And she just wanted to know, why are people upset? Like, why are people mad? Why are people, protesting even this kind of thing? Is it what are the reasons behind that? And so we thought could we just talk about it for a minute?
And before we get into it, I just first of all really appreciate you asking that. To be honest, I know a lot of people that maybe feel or voted the same way I did would just be like, oh my gosh, I just dismissed that. But I really felt and we both felt you were truly asking. And a lot of people, I think if we could come to a place where all of us could have these conversations, we might find that we're not as far away from each other.
Absolutely. Even on the flip side. So, why would you feel like you wanted to vote for this person in spite of this?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Instead of being how could you possibly do that?
Right.
That's the same spirit. I think it's a great.
No, because I know a lot of really amazing people in my life, and stories I've heard that are great people that voted for Trump. And I personally didn't do that, but I don't think any less of them, even though I don't understand because of the way I feel, but if that makes sense.
Absolutely. So I think the nutshell is this. I think that because of the policies and a lot of the statements that Trump has made over time, that there's just a general feeling that people are worried and they are scared because, when he says things like, I'm going to make all Muslims register, or I'm going to bar all people who are Muslim, who we have lots of people in this neighborhood who are precious people we see at the pet store and everything else, that makes them just imagine just for a minute, put yourself in their shoes. How would that make you feel?
And, we also live in a very heavily populated, Israeli populated city. Like there's a big Jewish presence here in New York. And the last time anyone in the world made people register, it was Hitler who made the Jews do that. And now, granted, Trump's not sending them to concentration camps, but he might start sending them out of the country. And that could be a very small beginning step. And not only that, if you're a citizen, it shouldn't matter. Yeah. Like, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. So none of these things have been passed yet, all this kind of stuff. So if you voted for Trump, you go, listen, that's just talk. That's not anything. But just think how that would make someone feel.
Right.
Think that would make you feel if you were in their shoes. This is where the emotion and all this is coming from. So that's the specific answer to your question. It's also, and we've heard people say this as well, it's not just Trump himself or the people that are surrounding him that said this. It's just that, half of the country said, yes, we agree with that.
Yeah.
So they feel sort of this almost betrayal as American citizens. Like, you mean you really don't want me here? You mean you really think that I need to go register? I'm not talking about just the Muslim issue. I'm also talking about other people. He said all kinds of things about all kinds of things, even
disabled people.
Yeah,
I mean,
and and you may say, I know the things as well. That was just one instance. You can't. But those are all things that contribute to people feeling this way. And I think to discount people, I've heard lots of people say, well, just get over it, that you're protesting the election. Most of them aren't protesting the results. They know he won.
Sure.
But there is this thing, and it was funny, we just saw this thing, and I don't know, you can look it up, but Hamilton, the Broadway musical, and they had the Vice President-elect was there tonight, and they read a statement to him at the end. And it was really sweet, actually. You can go watch it. But they basically said, this is a very diverse group of people. We represent a lot of what New York City is about. The immigrant population. We've got people, Hispanics, Black,
Puerto Rican.
Just go across the board. White people, everything. And they said, we are worried that you are not going to protect us. Right. That you are not going to think about us and your policies. And we ask you in love that you would consider us, that you would think about us. And I think that pretty much encapsulates the truest things that are going on.
And I think it really it also feels very, very, it feels like a really fresh, open wound living in a city like we do. That I am in contact with so many different people and people I love and of every different ethnicity and belief system and value. And, I love all these people that are in my life and, random people I see in the subway. And it's what makes New York City so incredible and such an experience. And I feel like most of the country that voted for him, it's not that big of a deal to them because most people don't live in an area with much diversity at all. And if there is, it may be, a lot of maybe African American and Caucasian people, or like maybe two different groups, where it doesn't feel like, well, when I look around, I see so many different people and I feel sometimes almost like in the minority in a great way. And I think, wow, I cannot believe that these people wouldn't have the same rights as me or, would feel afraid. Nobody in this country should feel afraid. I don't think, and, and I know a lot of people feel this way, and it is disheartening that, when they see, Muslim families, women in their hijabs and everything, they think they have bombs under there or something. Well, that's a very, very, very small group of people, and most of them live in the Middle East, that extremists that live. Yes, we've had to deal with some of that in this country, but there has been more domestic terrorism done by extreme Christians than Muslims. It's
every religion has extremists.
Yeah.
Fundamentalists who take things and they take them too far,
right.
and that is not godly. That is not honoring to other people. And I will say that as a Christian,
sure.
If it's just not acceptable.
Right.
And just how you would say about someone who bombed an abortion clinic, oh well, that person, I don't even believe that person's a Christian, because
right.
that's not obviously Christian to do that.
But
so
that
would
happens.
many Muslims feel that way about
right.
the Muslims who
right.
who do those acts of terrorism. So
and I think also it's just days since now that he's starting to appoint the people around him. I mean, the people that he's appointing have really, do some research on these men that he's surrounding himself with. They have really just shocking and very concerning beliefs about race and religion and nationalism, and it's really scary. And people are scared.
Yeah.
And I feel like, based on the words that he said and what the steps he's starting to take, it's understandable why people are upset. Because this isn't just an election where somebody's like, well, the Democrat won or the Republican won, they're going to do stuff to the taxes that I just don't really enjoy. No, he's talking about taking away human rights from people, and that's not okay in my book.
Yeah. And, yes, are there some crazy protesters and things like that do
sure.
that? Don't let those people shade all the people that truly are
right.
concerned and truly are worried. And that's on the flip side, too. There are crazy Trump
sure, of course.
People that support Trump and stuff like that. And I'm not going to count every person who supported him in that same category or anything like that. But I will say the responsibility is on him to make those people feel, to ease that. And say, no, we're not. You're valued, and we haven't really heard those kinds of things
at all.
So anyway, I guess that gives us a little nutshell. Gosh, we could talk about this for days, and I'm sure we've left out things that.
Sure.
So if you think of things, then we'll respond.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is, like we said last week, this ongoing dialogue. This is not just something that just is like, oh, here's the answer, and that's it. So anyway, but thank you, Reese, for that, and that's a great thing. And let us know your thoughts about that. Both sides, or it's not just a linear issue too. It's not just these people on this side. People have shared beliefs. People are not just one thing. I think somebody said that the other day. That's what they all want to do to us, and the media and everything is make you either you're this or that. And
really, truly, I feel like most people, like you and I, like I've said this so many times, that I feel like I'm socially liberal but more fiscally conservative, but I feel like most of us are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, and even within that, we're pro-life. I mean, and that's doesn't fit in with that category on the other things. And I think you have those issues as well, probably in your own life. Well, I'm this, but I'm also, we know somebody who's probably really socially conservative, but then they're for more gun, gun regulations and things like this. So it's we're not just one thing, and that's okay. And most people are like that, and the only way you know that is to have the conversations.
Right. So. I agree, definitely.
So all right. Q&A Friday on a Saturday.
Wrapping it up.
We'll see you on Monday.
Have a good weekend, guys.